Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. If there's one thing everyone knows but pretends not to, just because Oda hasn't confirmed it yet, it's that Shanks is hiding a past far more connected to the top of the world than any other character in the series. The guy barely shows up, barely speaks, and whenever he does, it's a bombshell. That's how it always is. He appears at the perfect moment, delivers some huge message or insane attack, and vanishes again for 50 chapters. But now, with the latest clues Oda has dropped in the manga, there's one thing that to me is obvious. Shanks was the leader of the Holy Knights. And this isn't just a wild guess. If you piece together what Oda's been building since chapter 1083, you'll see that the name Shanks and the word God keep showing up together. In chapter 1086, the Holy Knights are directly mentioned for the first time when the Gorosei say they've been activated to deal with the rising chaos across the world. But the name Holy Knights isn't just a fancy title. It's a secret and sacred organization that seems to answer directly to Imu. And here's the spark. Why is Shanks able to meet with the Gorosei without fear in chapter 907? Why can he enter the highest place in the world with no guard stopping him? And more than that, why do they listen to what he has to say? In that chapter, he says he wants to talk about a certain pirate, but Oda doesn't show who it is. So, of course, we all come up with endless theories. But what if that conversation wasn't just a warning? What if it was a talk between former allies? Imagine this. Shanks was a holy knight, the strongest one, the leader. But one day, he walked away. Why? Because he discovered the truth. Because he realized the gods weren't gods at all. That Imu is a creature obsessed with control. And the world has been kept in chains by a lie stretching back to the Void Century. Now think about this. The Holy Knights didn't show up by chance. They were mentioned at the exact moment the world government's authority started to collapse. Oda did that on purpose. And the name Shanks carries more weight than any other pirate of the new generation. He's the only one the Navy doesn't actively hunt. He's the only one who can enter Mariajois, speak to the Gorosei, and walk away unbothered. Something's off, right? Maybe he knows all of them. Maybe he grew up among them. Maybe he was raised as a divine weapon and only escaped because Roger showed up at the right time. And then we go back to God Valley. In chapter 1096, the flashback shows Roger and Garp defeating the Rock's crew. And right after that, Roger finds Shanks inside a chest. That means Shanks was rescued, or rather, freed during that incident. What if that place was a base for the Holy Knights? What if baby Shanks was already being trained as the next successor? It's no coincidence his name is Figureland. That name was revealed by Oda in the databook for One Piece Film Red, and in chapter 1086, the Gorosei mentioned the Figureland family as one of the Celestial Dragon's bloodlines. Coincidence? Not at all. Figureland Shanks is the missing link between the world of the Celestial Dragons and the free world of pirates. And maybe he rebelled against all of it. Maybe Roger showed him what real freedom meant. Maybe Shanks learned to use Conqueror's Haki not as a symbol of domination, but as a symbol of will. And when he understood that, he gave up the title of Holy Knight. He gave up control. He gave up everything. But he took something with him. Not just his sword, not just his name. He took knowledge and maybe even a plan. A plan that now, as the new era begins, is nearing its final phase. Because Shanks isn't just an observer. He knows what's coming. He knows what Imu is. He knows what happened during the Void Century. And he knows Luffy's role in all of this. Maybe that's why he let the Gomu Gomu no Mi slip away. Maybe that's why he left the hat with Luffy. Maybe that's why he never truly got involved in major battles. Because he was waiting for the right moment. In chapter 1079, Shanks defeats Kid with a single blow, a Kamusari, the same name as Roger's attack. That's not a coincidence. He inherited Roger's will, and maybe even more than that. Maybe even the title of Protector of the World. But instead of protecting the gods, now he wants to protect the world from their lies. And if he was the leader of the Holy Knights, then he knows who they are, how they fight, what they're planning, and most importantly, how to defeat them. This theory also fits the fact that the Holy Knights still haven't appeared on screen. Oda is holding them back. What if he's saving that reveal for when Shanks tells this part of the story? Imagine a scene where he sits down with Luffy and says, "I used to be one of them. I was the first Holy Knight, but I chose to follow the path of the free sea." That changes everything. That shifts Shanks' position on the board. He wouldn't just be one of the Yonku, he'd be the ex-general of the gods who turned pirate to destroy their tyranny. And now, the whole game flips. And you know what's even crazier? If this is true, then Shanks knows Imu's true face. And maybe he's the only person besides the Gorosei who does. Maybe that's why Imu is making moves now. Maybe that's why the Holy Knights have been reactivated, because their greatest traitor is acting again. And with that, Oda could deliver one of the most shocking twists in the series, putting Shanks not as the last one standing, but as the first one to rebel, the knight who turned against his king. But if Shanks really was the first God Knight, then his true story hasn't even begun to be told. What we know so far is just the tip of the iceberg, the calm, elegant pirate with his own sense of justice. But what if behind all that is someone who's seen the horrors at the top, who lived among the rulers of the world and realized there's no justice in keeping the world chained by fear? If he left that life by choice, it means he saw something no one else did, or survived something no one else could. And that brings up another question. Is Shanks really on Luffy's side, or does he have his own plan? Because if he knows the truth about Imu, the God Knights, and the Void Century, maybe he's been trying to steer things from behind the scenes to shape the chaos. That would explain why he moves with such precision. He only shows up when necessary, makes a move, then vanishes. That's not the behavior of a pirate. That's the behavior of a strategist, someone who's played this game before. And when we look at this figure called Imu, who rules from the shadows, even above the Gorosei, what becomes clear is that the war that's coming isn't pirates versus marines, it's between those who want to keep the world the way it is, and those who want to uncover what's been hidden. And Shanks might be the key to it all, because he carries both sides within him. The blood of the gods, the legacy of kings, and the will of the pirates. No one else has that trifecta, not even Luffy. And now that the God Knights have been mentioned, but haven't stepped onto the stage yet, it feels like Oda is saving up for a major moment. Maybe it won't just be the introduction of new villains, maybe it'll be the reveal that someone we already know was one of them. And who fits that role better than Shanks? He's the only one with access, the only one with mutual respect, and the only one whose long silences feel way too intentional. Another important detail, the title God Knights itself suggests a religious, almost fanatical hierarchy. They're not just soldiers, they're guardians of an ideal, a doctrine. And if Shanks was part of that, then he didn't just fight for Imu, he believed in Imu. So breaking away from that wasn't just a strategic move, it was a moral crisis, a radical shift in his worldview that made him walk away from everything. That only reinforces the idea that he carries a heavy burden, maybe guilt, maybe a debt to the world. And what does that mean for Luffy? That the straw hat he received might not have just been a symbol of hope, it might have also been a warning, a reminder that a new cycle needs to begin, but led by someone who's never been bound by the system. Luffy is the opposite of Shanks in that sense. He was born free, raised far from palaces, rules, and lies. Maybe that's exactly why Shanks bet everything on him. Maybe Shanks' plan was never to win. Maybe it was to prepare the battlefield, clear the path, expose the cracks, and in the end, hand the world over to someone who isn't afraid to break it all down and start from scratch. Because if Shanks really was the first God Knight, then he might also be the first to realize that the gods don't deserve the throne they sit on. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.